as long as your seafood boil is cooked and it is flavorful with lots of butter and lots of garlic, there is no right or wrong way to make a seafood boil. And I'm going to show you exactly how I make mine. So first thing I do is start off with my potatoes. And as you can see on the bag, it does say that it's triple washed and they're ready to steam. But guess what? We're going to go ahead and wash them for a fourth time because we just got to make sure. So I'm going to go ahead and get me a pan, put my potatoes in there, put those in the sink with some water, and then we're just going to go ahead and scrub those nice and clean. Once we get our potatoes nice and clean, it's time to go ahead and start boiling them. Now, I do not cut up my potatoes. I like to have my potatoes whole. So we're going to go ahead and put it in some boiling water and let them boil. Now, while our potatoes are boiling, we're going to go ahead and start working on the ingredient for our sauce. And for the ingredients for our sauces, what we're going to do is start chopping up some fresh garlic. Now, if you want to use the garlic in the jar, you definitely can, but to me, fresh tastes better. In addition to that fresh garlic, I'm going to go ahead and start getting out my seasonings because I like to be prepared and I like to be in order when I'm cooking. After I got everything prepared and I let my potatoes boil for a few minutes, I decided it was time to go ahead and add in those eggs. Now, I remember before when I was eating seafood boils, I would never put eggs in it. Now, I cannot have a seafood boil unless it has eggs in it, and I have to add extra eggs in it. Once I get my eggs in there, I went on ahead and checked on my potatoes, and my potatoes is ready. Now, we're not making mashed potatoes, we're making a seafood boil, so we don't want them all the way mushy. And the way you're going to go ahead and check your potatoes is you're going to take your knife or a fork or whatever you have, put it through your biggest potato in there, and once it slides off of whatever utensil you're using, you know it is done. So what we're going to do now is remove our potatoes, make sure that we get them out of the pot because we do not want to overcook them. Once I get all my potatoes removed, I am going to go ahead and start adding in my corn, and I'm using some corn that I got from the supermarket in a frozen section. It's completely fine. You can use fresh or frozen corn. It's completely up to you, whatever you prefer, but just for today, we're using frozen corn because that's what we have. Now, while our corn and our eggs are still cooking, I am going to go ahead and get my crab legs. Now, I got these from BJ's. They're about $24.99. They do come with 2 pounds in the box, and we're just going to take these out the box and run some water on it just to defrost them a little bit and get off whatever we don't want in our seafood boil, any icky bits that might be left on there. And also, I like to go ahead and run just a little bit of cool water on there and try and defrost it so that when I'm putting it in the pot, the legs are able to bend if your pot is not big enough. So that's what I like to do right there. And that we're just going to go ahead and get all that frost off and everything else. Once I get the crab legs rinsed off, I am going to go ahead and put those to the side. Now, we are adding shrimp in our seafood boil as well, which I already peeled my shrimp, washed them off, and cleaned them. So we're just going to go ahead and put that to the side because that is ready. Now, if you want, you can add you some sausage to yours, but I just wasn't in the mood for sausage, so I didn't add any of that. Now that my potatoes, my corn, and my eggs are done, I took everything out of the pot, put it into the pan. It's time for us to go ahead and start cooking the seafood. So for the seafood, we're going to go ahead and start adding our crab legs. And honestly, the seafood does not take long to cook. Your crab legs could be done in within a few minutes. I leave mine in there just until they get hot, which takes about 5 to 6 minutes. It does not take long at all. After I got my crab legs in there, I knew that our seafood boil was just about done. And what are we missing, y'all? It's time for us to go ahead and make that sauce. So while I'm putting my crab legs in there to boil, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the sauce. So for the sauce, I had to go ahead and get me some butter, and I'm using unsalted butter. Now, if you want to use salted butter, you definitely can. I do not recommend it because we are going to add an additional seasoning, and sometimes seafood itself can be salty, so I always recommend using an unsalted butter. So I'm going to go in with my saucepan. I'm going to add in my unsalted butter and let that start to melt. Now, while my unsalted butter is melting, I'm going to go ahead and start adding in my seasonings. Now, we're going to use our seasonings that we normally use for our seafood boils, which are going to be some Old Bay seasoning. I'm going to go ahead and add that. Now, when it comes to the seasoning, I do not measure anything. I go ahead and just feel it. If it feels right, if it looks right, That's okay with me. We're going to keep on going. Maybe one day I might start actually doing my measurements, but it's just not going to be today. So after we get our Old Bay in there, my camera light decided that it was tired and it wanted to take a nap in mid-production, but we still got to keep on going because the boil is almost ready. Going to go ahead and add in some paprika because y'all know I like my paprika for color, and I also like it for flavor. If you have smoked paprika, I recommend using a smoked paprika. It's definitely a different taste to me. Onion powder, because you got to have onion powder. And if you have an onion powder, you definitely have to have you some garlic powder. Now, I am going to be using fresh garlic, but I'm going to be using my garlic powder as well because I absolutely love garlic and I think it goes good with it. So after I got my garlic powder in there, I'm going to go ahead and add in some parsley because it's just going to give it a pop of color, and because it adds that little razzle dazzle to the food and it makes you feel a little bit fancy. So go ahead and add your parsley. After I got all my seasonings in there, I decided to go ahead and add me in a little bit of Tony's Creole seasoning just to kick it up a notch. We're going to go ahead and add that Creole seasoning in there. That's completely optional. You do not have to do it. That's just what I like. Now I have my garlic that I chopped up that we're going to put in there as well. And now that we have everything into our sauce, it's time for us to go ahead and mix it up and make this come together. Now that we are done with making our sauce, putting that to the side, it's time to go ahead and remove our crab legs. I'm going to go ahead and add those shrimp in there. And the shrimp is not going to take but about a minute or two. And as you can see, when we add the shrimp in there, they're already turning pink. Once your shrimp turns pink, they are done. You want to go ahead and remove them from the pot. Now that I have everything together, my potatoes, my corn, my eggs, my shrimp, my crab legs, it's time for us to go ahead and pour that sauce that we made right on top. And when I tell you, when it comes to making a seafood boil, my favorite part of the seafood boil is always putting the sauce right on top. Now, there is completely, like I told you guys, no wrong way to make a seafood boil. You can make it in the oven. You can make it on the stove. I actually make mine in very different ways. This is just one of the ways I'm making it. And don't let nobody tell you you're doing something wrong in your kitchen. But right now, I'm about to go eat this boil, and I'm going to call y'all back.